Hello friends, I hope you're happy and well. In today's landscape photography video I've come to the bay of Ardtoe, which is on the western side of Scotland. And this bay is absolutely beautiful. Okay, not so much that side. I'm just going to scout this location and fingers crossed we're going to get some light. We've had a lot of rain today, so hopefully that's cleared a lot of the atmospheric dust, so if the clouds do pass, I'm hoping for some perfect light. So we've had a bit of rain, so I've just had to cover myself up in the camera, but one good thing about it, I don't know if you can see, but we've got a rainbow up there. The other bit was just going down there, but it's disappeared now. Unfortunately I can't really find any compositions including that, but that way there's some amazing thick blankets of rain just pouring down, so if I can get a composition that way that will look phenomenal, but at the moment the light's a bit non-existent. We have got the sun behind you and there's a lot of clouds, a lot of broken clouds, so I'm going to look for some compositions, hopefully that way, towards that rain cloud. But also there's some lovely bays around this side as well, so I might try a bit of both. And when the sun comes out, I'll be waiting to get the shot. So I found my first composition, which is looking toward this lovely bay here. We've got some really lovely reflections from the blue sky above. And there's some nice rocks and some amazing autumn colours in the background, but what I really like about this is this lovely coloured grass. There's a little path leading the eye through and you've got this golden orange grasses around here, so when the sun, if the sun hits these, I'm expecting some really spectacular colour lighting this up, so that'll be lovely foreground interest with a path leading out to this bay, and then we've got all this autumn colour in the background which is basically mirroring the foreground. So all I need to do now is wait for the light. So I've set up pretty much I think it's going to be a panorama for this one because there's some lovely colours here and I'm going to try and get the most of this grass, and then there's some nice beaches and bays over that side, so it's going to be a portrait and then moving it around about 6-7 shots, maybe more, to get the panorama. It's going to be ISO 100, f11 or f something like that, quite a large depth of field just to get everything in. I'm sure there's something moving in that loch. It's probably a seal. I hope it's a seal. But these black things just keep appearing, so I'm guessing it's a seal rather than a Loch Ness monster, because that's the wrong loch. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm going to have quite a small aperture just to get as much depth of field. I'm focusing roughly around on these grasses and then kind of focusing quite a way back from the camera. That should give me a lot of depth of field from foreground all the way to the background. And then whatever I get with the light, I'm just going to change the shutter speed to get the correct exposure. I'm not too bothered about the shutter speed. It would be nice to get a little bit of blurry in this grasses just to get them moving, to soften the image a little bit, but I'm not too bothered what it's going to be, so I'm just going to change the shutter speed so the histogram doesn't clip out the highlights and doesn't clip out the lowlights. So for my second composition, I've got this lovely little bay here and there's lots of rocks around us. Still, we've got this beautiful orange grass in the foreground and some nice interesting rocks, but this is what I was trying to say about the rainstorm in the background. If you look right on the horizon, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's some amazing looking downpour of rain, just solid blocks of rain on the horizon, so I'm going to try and capture that, and as soon as the sun comes through the cloud, which it looks like it's going to do any minute, it will light up all of this in this foreground rocks, and we've got a nice little island or two in the background, and we've actually got some really beautiful clouds in the background too, which looks fascinating. So again, I might take a panorama here because this little bay goes to a beach which is quite nice. Unfortunately, it's a lot of footprints on it, so it looks like the water hasn't come in for a while. But I may stop it before the footprints start. But from the moment, I'm just going to be sure, I'm going to take a panorama all across the scene, using the same settings as before: ISO 100, f11, and then whatever shutter speed I get depending on the amount of light. And as you can see, the light keeps coming and going at the moment, and it might rain in a bit. We've got a big black cloud, but in the meantime, if we don't get the rain, we should have some beautiful light, and I really want to try and capture those dark rain clouds in the background. Okay, I managed to capture the light on that photograph. At the moment, this is so beautiful. Because we've had all this rain, it's been washing all the dust out the atmosphere, and it's just side lighting all of this beautifully. So it is a bit strong at the moment, so there's going to be lots of shadows, but it really does add a lot of contrast and depth to the image. So I'm really happy with that photo. I hope the photo is going to do it justice, because this looks absolutely stunning. I've scouted around a bit more, and I have found a really good composition that I'm really excited about, which is probably my favourite one of this trip. However, about 20 seconds before I was ready to take the photograph, the sun went behind that massive cloud there, so it's right on the edge of that hill, so there is a gap in the cloud. So I'm fingers crossed it's going to get to that gap before it goes below the hill. Otherwise, this photograph just will not work. But we've got some lovely grass down there. We've got some nice leading lines of these rocks, and then these lead into some of the rocks down the bottom there. And then we've got the background of those lovely rocks and things in the background, and then right over in the distance you've got those mountains with all the rainstorms. So I've taken a photograph now just to get the composition, and it's not going to work. It's very, very dark, so I think this really does need the light on it. I am so disappointed that the sun just never came back out. I missed that shot by less than a minute, which is often the case. Unfortunately, it's just when you're running around trying to find a composition, especially when you haven't been somewhere before, then you can be overwhelmed with all these compositions, and there's rocks, there's lovely grass, there's so many things around that trying to get the right composition can sometimes be difficult. And I just didn't get it this time, because I think this composition down here with the leading lines of the grass, the mid-ground rocks and everything like that would have just been perfect. But not to worry, I can show you the photo without the light, just to see what I was trying to achieve. But not to be outdone, look at that. The colour in the background sky is phenomenal. That would have been perfect if I'd have got some light in the foreground as well. But that's the way it goes. So what I've done instead is just zoom in and just take a picture of that storm cloud, because the colours going on in there are absolutely fantastic. It might be a record shot, it might be quite nice, I don't know, but I thought I'd take this anyway just to get the shot, because I didn't get this one, but I'm still happy with that one. It just shows how beautiful it can be. I just have to show you that amazing cloud up there. There's a lovely storm cloud, and it's just catching the light from the last of the sunset. It looks absolutely perfect. I do have to admit I'm a bit obsessed with clouds. I used to think I was a cloud, but the doctor said it wasn't cirrus. Hey look, I'm Jesus. Not really, just this bit's really shallow. So I think that's going to be it for today. The light is pretty much gone. We've got a few bits of patches on clouds which are up in the sky, but there's no light in the foreground anymore, and I'm struggling to find any compositions. So I think that's going to be it for today. I think I've got some good photos and I really hope you've enjoyed looking at them. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give a thumbs up. I hate it when you're standing in water and it just starts to move. There shouldn't be any sharks around here anyway, so it's okay. But just a little unnerving. So where was I? So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a comment. Your support really means a lot to me. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I'll thank you so much again. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.